Hey, we're back and we actually have a nice background for a change. In today's little video, we're going to be discussing a topic that's very important to a couple people. Why is the number 13 unlucky? If I were more of an adult and had my life together, I would have arranged this video so that it was released on the 13th. But I'm not, and I don't. So here we are. If you were raised in the US, the United Kingdom, or Canada, and probably some other countries as well, I just don't really know them, you will probably have heard at some point in your life that the number 13 is unlucky. In fact, you've probably seen some people go to great lengths to avoid it. I recall once, when I lived in San Francisco, entering an apartment building with the mailboxes in the lobby. The individual who lived in the 13th apartment had switched the numbers around on their mailbox so that it read 31. Some elevators here are designed so that their buttons skip 13, or some actually skip the 13th floor entirely. And Friday the 13th in particular has a very deep-rooted fear surrounding it. Both the number 13, and Friday the 13th are actually recognized as phobias. Triskaidekaphobia and Paraskevidecaphobia? Paraskevidecatriophobia. Paraskevidecatriophobia. It's probably as good as we're gonna get. Many unfounded superstitions around the number, did I say that right this time? The number 13 abound. Such as there are allegedly 13 witches in a coven. If you have 13 letters in your name, you're cursed. A sports player with the letter 13 on their jersey will never play well. In fact, it was alleged that there were 13 steps leading up to the gallows. But why all the hubbub, and why 13? Like so many things I have and will be covering on this channel, no one really knows. Surprise, surprise, there is no real consensus as to the origin of this. Some believe it originated with the Sumerians, who considered the number 12 to be perfect. That's actually something that's very ingrained still in our culture. There's 12 months in a year, 2 12-hour segments in a day, and so on. So the number 13 then was just kind of weird. Like, how do you follow something that's perfect? It's kind of like the child who isn't really loved by their parents because they're seen as being not as good as their sibling. Just got really sad, sorry. Another ancient source that potentially influenced this belief came from Persia and the Zoroastrian tradition, which believed that in the 13th millennium, all chaos would break loose as evil would begin a great battle against good. Another theory as to the origin of the belief is that the infamous traitor, Judas Iscariot, was allegedly the 13th guest to the Last Supper, and we all know what happened from there, or at least most of us do. A similar belief from Nordic countries holds that Loki was the 13th guest to a dinner party of the gods, his presence disrupting the perfect balance of 12 and thereby introducing mayhem into the world. Whatever the ancient origins are, the belief became the most widespread in the 16th century, thanks in large part to a man by the name of Petrus Bungus. Yes, that is his real name, allegedly. He very literally proclaimed his hatred for the number 13 from the rooftops and cited the Bible somehow as reason for it. How about Friday the 13th, though? Where did that come into play? Well, many historians believe that it actually started with the murder of the Knights Templar. The King of France at the time, Philip IV, had become heavily indebted to the Knights Templar, and decided to conspire with Pope Clement V in having them charged with heresy, rounded up, and murdered. The date that this was said to have taken place was on October 13th, a Friday, in 1307. This all being said, In many times, places, and cultures, the number 13 is not always considered to be unlucky. In fact, in modern paganism, for instance, the number 13 is largely associated with the goddess and is considered to be a very powerful and beneficial number. In ancient Egypt, the number 13 was considered lucky. Other cultures have their own unlucky numbers, such as the number 4 in most of Asia and the number 17 in Italy, although 13 is also still unlucky there as well. For what it's worth, there is no actual statistical evidence to prove 13 to be an unlucky or lucky number. So what's the unlucky number in your culture, and do people go to ridiculous lengths to avoid it? I want to know. Drop me a note in the comments below or reach out to me on social media. Thanks so much for lending me your ear. I hope I've enlightened you somewhat. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and like this video if you appreciated the information. I will see you in my next video. As always, this has been Wendigo a Go-Go, signing out.